Interview with Mary Pliska, Krebs, Oklahoma, September 6, 1984. Okay, Mary, could you give us a little background about your family? In terms of, can you tell us about your mother and father, their names, where they were from in Italy, the town, the province?
Well, my father was Battista Lavera, Battista.
And do you want to spell the last name?
Lovera, Lavera.
And your mother?
My mother was Martha Blua.
His job,
She's married to Battista. And after they were married a few years, they decided to come to America.
Now, how do you spell her last name?
Blua, B-L-U-A.
And where were they from
Well,
in
they
Italy?
were from, my father was, they were from Cunio, the province of Cunio. But then my mother was from Descriptive, near Valdieri. It was up in the mountains.
How do you spell it? Can you spell that?
Valdieri.
Or the town?
Well, the city was Valdieri, and the province was Cunio. And then the city, little bit larger city was Valdieri, Valdieri, and it's set up in the mountains, between the mountains between France and Italy.
Bye-bye, Titino.
France and Italy.
Now, were there many Italians from that area living in Krebs?
Oh yeah, there was quite a few.
Where were some of the other towns that they were from in Piedmont?
See, I haven't finished talking
Oh,
yet.
okay.
See, my mother was from this bigger city was Valdieri, but my mother was from Desertito, Desertetto, and that's way up in the mountains. Then my father was from San Lorenzo, S-A-N,
San Lorenzo.
Lorenzo. San Lorenzo.
Yeah.
And that was about 2 or 3 miles down from the mountain. And they were, after they were married and lived in Italy a few years, where they decided to come to America, because there were other people here from the same part of Italy. Living here in Krebs, we were working in the mines. And so, some of the people that my mother knew in Italy were here. Some of the Gigos and the Gigos, G-H-I-G-O, Gigos, Delmasos, D-E-L-M-O. Delmaso, M-A-S-S-O, D-E-L-M-A-S-S-O, Delmaso.
Excuse me, Mary. Ross, you think you make the come down? I got, my friend.
So they were, then getting back to the interview, there were then other Italians from Piemontes living in this, had come to this area to work.
In Carbon, Carbon, Oklahoma, where some of the mines were in Carbon.
And they were
not very far from here.
And there were Piemontes there.
Yeah, well, yeah,
Could we
then
go?
There was a lot of people from, also there was a lot of people from Naples and Castelloni, around here.
From Sicily, or?
A lot of the descendants live here.
Mostly from, when they talk about Southern Italians, and mostly from Naples, the Naples area, or farther south?
Well, near Rome, like my sister-in-law, her parents came from somewhere near Rome, not very far from Rome. Of course, Naples is not far from Rome either, It's not way down south. Of course, there's a lady that lives right down here, Miss Myson. Now you could talk to her. She'd probably know more than I would, because I'm one of the younger ones. Now she came from Italy, and she's past 80. And she lives with her invalid daughter. And but they were from Sicily. And they all came here to work in the mines. You know, because that's the only thing there was here to do, you know, work in the mines.
Now, could you tell us a little about Krebs, the town of Krebs? Were there numerous, or were there any Italian stores in the town?
Not very many. There was some Jewish stores, they say.
But for instance, this building here, put up by...
Yeah, it was an Italian store, but that's sort of recent, you know.
But how about this fellow F. Duca?
Oh, yeah, well, I think he's the one that built the building. But I don't remember that. See, I'm a lot younger than a lot of stuff. Now, Miss Meissen might could tell you more about all that stuff than I could.
Okay. Well, then could you tell us a little about your family, about your mother and father?
Well, like I said before, my father came here to work in the mines. And he worked in the mines all the time he was here, he worked in the mines. You know.
Now, how did what did he think of the area? Did he ever talk about that when he arrived, coming from Italy in the mountains to Oklahoma and kind of the flat?
Well, my mother used to talk about Italy all the time. They always intended to go back, you know, because they had all their relatives over there. My mother had six sisters and a brother, and she always wanted to go back to see them, you know, and she never did go. And when she was pretty old and not very well, she asked me to go. So after my mother died, well, I went with my two daughters.
Oh, I see.
And I met all her sisters and her brother and her family. And I've been back 5 times since. 5 times. So I went different times.
Now
they're all dead now except one. She's a nun in Torino. She was the youngest in the family. Of course, I go back and visit my relatives, my cousins. And my brother went back once with me too. And Sammy's been. We went to visit all of them. And then that's it. Some of the relatives moved to France. Some of them came to America and some went to France.
Oh, I see. Now, did many of the people from this area that came to Krebs return?
To Italy? Well, no, the only one I know was when I was real small. There was some people, a man and a woman and 2 children. I remember very vaguely that they went back. And
that would have been
some went to California. A lot of them went to Ohio. There's a lot of people in Ohio that moved there from here.
Where did they go in Ohio? What city or what did they do?
Akron. There's a lot of them in Akron and that's what I remember. They have relatives here, you know. In fact, the other day we had a class reunion at St. John's. And there was 2 ladies that came from Ohio, and one of them hadn't been here for, I think it was 52 years. She graduated from St. John.
Oh. Now, did many of them go to Detroit? And some
went to Detroit. A lot of them, like the Giegel boys, they all went to Detroit. And the Pepinos, Catherine, my friend, her parents were from Undorno. Now, that's just a little ways from where my mother lived. Near Bulgari, and they came here, and they had a grocery store here. They had it for years. Just a little grocery store. And they came.
Did you ever know of people that like worked in other mining areas, like in Kansas, the Kansas coal mines?
Yeah, well, some of them, after the mines shut down here, a lot of them went to Illinois and worked in the mines.
In the coal mines.
And I think there's few of them. This is just hearsay, you know. I remember the old folks talking about it. Some went to Kansas. There's some mines in Kansas. Somewhere
Pittsburgh, Kansas.
Pittsburgh, somewhere up there. And then a few might have gone to Pennsylvania. They went where the mines were.
So there was a lot of movement then of people. As the mines would close down
Yeah,
here, they would move to other
well,
places.
like for instance, the mines would only work maybe a few months of the year. Well, they'd have to save enough money to tie them over for the whole year, you know. Like now the government helps people. In those days, nobody helped anybody. So if you didn't stretch your money wisely, well, you just didn't exist. But they exist. The Italians are pretty smart people, you know. They saved their money when they worked, and then when they didn't work, they still had enough time over. Another thing they did when they came here, they bought a house to live in.
Now, were all the houses in Krebs privately owned, or were they owned by the coal companies?
Well, I think some of them were owned by the coal companies, but my parents bought the house I live in now. My parents bought it. And, I think they paid $300 for it because when they first came here, I think they I don't know how it was. Where they lived in a different place, and then they moved to Carbon for a while. And they may have lived in a company house then, but then when they came back here to Krebs, they bought this house for $300, and I still live in it.
Now, did they keep did they keep a large vegetable garden?
Oh yeah, they always had a garden. See, when they didn't work in the mines, well, even when they worked in the mines, they had a garden, you know, but then they weren't working, they still worked around home. They also had chickens and two or three cows. I remember we had 3 cows.
They keep hogs?
Yeah, we had a pig or two. That was their meat for the winter.
Now, what did they...
sausage.
When did they make sausage during the year?
What?
When did they make sausage?
Well, mostly in the winter time when it was cold, you know, when it was cool enough to kill a pig. Because in the summer it would be so hot that it would spoil, you know. So they always managed to make this when it was cool weather, so it would spoil. So
like in January, thereabouts?
Well, I don't remember when, but I know it was cool weather when they did it. Did the Italians down here in Krebs in the area, did they ever try to grow grapes, and did they make wine? No, well, we made wine, but I don't think they grew grapes. They might have tried to grow a few plants or something like that. You know, I remember we had little grape arbor, but never did do pretty good.
Oh.
But I know where they made wine.
Then where did they get the grapes for the wine?
Well, some of the Italian stores, I think, had it chipped in or something, you know, and they would buy grapes and make wine.
Then would they...
We also made Choc. Choc beer.
How do you spell that?
That was the main drink.
How do you spell that?
C-H-O-C. I don't know how you spell it. C-H-O-C, I guess. Choc.
And what?
Choc beer.
What was that now? Could you explain that?
Well, it's made from malt and hops. And you boil your malt and your hops, and then you strain it, and then you add your sugar and yeast, and let it work for 2 or 3 days so it quits working. Then you bottle it. And in a few days, it's good drink, good stuff. And you can still get it here once in a while. We're there for a while when the mines quit working. A lot of people used to sell Choc. They made Choc and sold it.
Oh.
That's how they made their living. My mother sold it for a while. When we were really small, my father and my brother were killed in the coal mine. Both of them at the same time. So my mother made Choc and sold that. Helped us a lot.
Was it legal to sell?
Well, it wasn't really legal, but if you didn't make a big deal of it, they didn't bother you. You know, they bothered some of the people that, you know, sold a whole lot of it and had to come to rough house, stuff like that. They did bother, but they never bothered my mother because she never, you know, had very much. She never made a big deal out of it. made enough to help us out.
Wait a minute. So, could you tell us then a little about your father? He was killed in a mine disaster.
My father and my
What-
brother,
what-
1930.
What was it? An explosion? Could you?
There was 30 people killed in it.
Which mine was that in?
Number 4 sample, October 27th, 1930.
And then, how did your mother then bring the children up?
Well, like I said, of course my father had a little savings. They had a little bit of savings, and she really never bothered to save savings too much. She took the interest. She used that.
Mm-hmm.
But then she always she sold us a Choc. Didn't take very much to live those days.
Mm-hmm. Now then, she kept a garden and
Oh yeah, she always had a garden.
and the animals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did she put up all of the vegetables and fruit?
Well, as much as they did those days, we had canned fruit mostly.
Oh.
Vegetables, you had to process it.
Well, down here, I guess you can grow vegetables through most of the year.
No.
No?
Well, some people have fall gardens. But
Mm-hmm.
most of them, I don't remember. I don't think we ever had a fall garden.
Now, what did the Italian women do? Did they stay in the home? Did they have any outside jobs?
Mostly stayed home because there weren't any outside jobs.
Weren't any
Well,
factories?
now, when they first came here, a lot of them had boarders. I remember one lady. I used to hear her talk about it, but she had a lot of boarders. People that came from Italy. Maybe the men folks would come and left their families in Italy, and they didn't have any place to stay. So some families would take them in and let them stay in their home, and they paid them, they were boarders. They worked with them till they had enough money to send for their family, and then they made up their own home.
I see. Were there about how many people were living in Krebs at that time?
Oh, I don't remember. I don't know because but there was a lot of people here. They say, in McAllister and Krebs. There was more people here in Krebs than there was in McAllister.
Oh.
But I don't know. I just heard people say.
Now,
Then after the mine shut down, they all scattered.
and that's when they went to the northern cities in many cases.
Yeah.
You ever hear of any of them going to the mining area of Michigan?
Of Michigan?
Michigan or Minnesota to work in the iron and copper mines?
No. The only thing I know that some of the children that grew up after they were big enough to work, well, they went to Detroit and worked in the car factories.
Do you have the names of any families that you know of today that live in Detroit?
Yeah, the Eagle boys, they lived there. Most of them, some of them have died with their family. Eagle boys. Then one family of Eagles moved back here.
Oh.
After they retired, moved back here. Then the Pino boys, but they're all gone too now. See, but they all lived in Detroit and worked in the car factory.
Okay. Now, were there any? Do you remember the?
Some went to Chicago too.
Okay. Do you remember anything of the Italian societies? There was a Christopher Columbus Society, I think.
Oh yeah, Columbus Lodge. They always have big celebrations every year. And then they have this late in Mount Carmel celebration. They have it. We revived them. We have it now.
Oh, could you tell me a little about the both societies? But first, the Columbus Society. Did they have their own hall?
Yeah, they had it right down here somewhere.
Is it still standing? Or?
I think it is. I believe they have a little hall now. They tore the old one down. I think they have a little one there now.
So the society's still in operation?
Lodge, yeah.
Uh-huh.
And then our church has the Our Lady of Mount Carmel Society, and they have a celebration on the 16th of July.
Oh.
Mass.
Now, what do they have for the celebration? Could you describe that?
Well, they have the bishop always comes and says the mass, and they have a procession.
Now, is that from Oklahoma City?
From Tulsa.
Tulsa. Oh, there's a bishop in Tulsa. Oh.
We have bishop says the mass, and then comes a procession. Then we have the dinner, and everybody brings the covered dish.
Uh-huh.
Have games and a few fireworks.
Oh.
It's real nice. Uh-huh.
And this, now you said this has been revived in the last...
For a while there, they didn't have anything, but they started.
What year did it start?
Well, let's see. It's been several years since they've been having Mount Carmel.
Say like 10 years or so?
Oh, let's see. I don't even remember. Let's see. It's probably so. Maybe a month, maybe longer.
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
And then what did the Columbus Society do? What did they celebrate?
Now, I don't know too much about it. I know my father belonged to the Columbus Lodge, and they used to have dinners and bocce games, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if they still have them there or not, but I guess they do. You could go ask this Carano, you know, he has something to do with it. Tachi Carano.
How do you spell C?
C-A-R-A-N-O. Now he lives right down here, let's see, the Miss Myson I was talking about, there's a block down the road on the right side of the road, and then Carano lives, let's see, 1, 2, 3 blocks down the road on the turn right, and it's, there's a trailer right there on the right, and then there's a third house, I think, on the left side. Maybe Sammy can tell you something about it.
Okay.
Now he might tell you something about the Columbus Lodge.
Okay. But then they obviously celebrated Columbus Day.
I guess they usually have something every Sunday, you know.
Oh, even now.
I think they do. I think they still do. There for a while they used to have it every Sunday. Now, I don't know now if they do or not. See, nobody in my family belongs to it, so I don't know.
I see. Did then you had an Italian church here? Was there an Italian priest at the church?
Well, I think a long time ago they did have an Italian priest. But that was before I could remember, you know.
So when you were growing up then, a lot of the, this would have been the 1930s, 40s, a lot of the Italians had gone.
Oh yeah, a lot of them had migrated to other bigger cities. So I don't, Miss Myson might can tell you some things about it.
Okay.
It's like I said, I don't know too much about it. I said, when I heard my parents say. And
Now,
I'm 67, and so you'd have to talk to somebody that's about 80.
To kind of to talk about the period when this was booming.
Most of those folks have died. You know, there's not very many of them left, but that's my thing.
Now, could you tell us a little about the store? When was this store open? Laverna's opened.
Well, there's a sign on the outside. I believe it's 1909.
Oh, when they built the building, it was 1910.
I believe, or 1910, yeah.
Okay. But when did they open this store?
Mike's Grocery?
Yeah,
well,
Mike's Grocery.
I think he opened in 1940, when the war ended, 1945.
46 maybe?
Huh?
46, 1946?
Yeah, well, about when he came home from the service.
Oh,
It was already my stepfather, and he owned it before, and he he closed it down because he was sick. And then he decided to open it up again. And my husband opened it. It was just a small place and we didn't have much. But neither one of them. Well, my stepfather wasn't able to take care of it, so my husband took it over, and he wasn't interested. So when Mike came from the service, he sold it to Mike.
Oh, I see. I see. So this kind of continues the tradition of the Italian grocery store in Krebs.
Yeah,
Is this the only one left?
Yeah, as far as I know.
And what do they make? I saw they have sausage downstairs.
Yeah, he makes Italian sausage and sells gobs of it. Comes from all over. People come from all over to buy it. From Tulsa, Oklahoma City, Texas, Arkansas. And mostly all Italian people buy it. Because they had it when they were growing up with families. But still, a lot of people that aren't Italian like it too. They buy a lot of it too.
Now, how many pounds does he make?
Well, I don't know. You'd have to ask Sammy all that. See, you didn't ask Sammy all that.
No. Well, he was going to do the interview and then he got busy there.
Yeah, you'd have to ask him because I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, they make quite a lot. They sell a lot.
Yeah. Okay.
Every day. And then the Italian bread. We have the Italian bakery down here.
Oh.
And they come buy Italian bread, and then it's just homemade Italian cheese, caciocavallo.
How do you spell that?
Oh, heck, I don't know. Caciocavallo. C-A-C. And you've never eaten caciocavallo? What kind of Italian are you, anyway?
Never had that.
C-A-C-H-C-A-V-A-L-O. But there's a deal downstairs that tells you how to spell it.
Oh, okay.
I'll show you how to spell it. Cacio, C-A-C-C-A-V-A-L-O. I don't really know too much about it.
Okay. But that's, it's made locally. The cheese is made locally?
Yeah, well, there's a lady in McAllister, South McAllister makes it.
Oh.
You have to have raw meal. You can't make it without, if it's pasteurized.
She just makes it in her home then?
Well, she buys it sometimes. I think they have cows too.
No.
Then there's a lady that comes here from Ada. Her mother lives here around this vicinity, and she always made it. But this girl moved to Ada, and she didn't have a job, so she decided to make some of this cheese. Her mother taught her how. And she buys the meal, raw meal, and she makes it. She makes it real good. She's bringing it.
Oh. Now, what's her name?
Well, I don't know what her name is. She was at Casino.
Oh.
But I don't know what her name is.
Okay. So then you have quite a bit of the tradition is still, the people are gone, but the tradition is...
I told her little girl, this lady that came, I told her little girl, I said, you better learn how to make this cheese so that when all these older people won't be able to make it, well, you know how to make it.
Yeah.
She says, I'm learning. She says, I'm learning from my mother.
So the Italians didn't really make, the Italians in this area didn't make a lot of wine. Some of them did, not all of them, or?
Well, they made enough to drink for their own self, you know. Especially the northern Italians. They made, I don't know about the others.
Now, did you ever hear of them making grappa?
Yeah, that's whiskey.
Yeah.
When we was in Chicago, we made that. Didn't they put anisette in it?
Yeah. Yeah, you can put it's a strong, clear alcohol. Then you can put anything, any flavoring you want.
Yeah, they make that in where you're from.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And they still make it in Michigan. Yeah, it usually comes out 180 proof. So
well, this lady here that was here, you know, well, she hadn't been here since, well, I think she's been here about 20 years, or maybe. She makes raviolis and stuff like that. She's really good too.
Was there ever a pasta factory, a macaroni factory here in Krebs?
Yeah, in McAllister there was one.
Oh, in McAllister.
Mm-hmm.
And who operated that?
Casinos.
Oh, the Fasinos.
Mm-hmm.
Are any of their relatives left in the area?
Well, I don't know for sure if there is or not. I don't think there is. There may be some distant relation. But these casinos that I was telling you about, made the cheese. I don't know if they're related to them or not.
Okay.
Then, I was going to say something. I don't know where it was. Well, now there was a few other nationalities here too. Like there's a lot of Polish people, and a lot of some Lithuanian that live down in the Carbon area, and Adamson, and some from Yugoslavia.
Oh.
Now they came for the same purpose, to work in the mine.
And they all they have their culture and their traditions and some of their stores. Oh.
But there's mostly Italians were the biggest bunch. Well, there are some Italian stores in McAllister. One Italian store in McAllister that is Pizzetti, and another was the first one. As far that I can remember. Now those Silvas, now that was another family. Silva, now they came from Torino. And Machodas came from Torino. And I never knew the Silvas that worked in the mines, but I think they some of them had farms.
Oh.
They bought ranches, and I think they dealt mostly in. And I think that one Silva used to import olive oil and stuff like that.
Was that a John Silva?
No, John Silva had he was kind of a rancher like.
Oh.
He's got several boys. Marcy and Dominic and Joe, 3 boys and a girl. Their mother just died just the other day, a few months ago.
And they're still in ranching? They still have a ranch?
Oh yeah, they still have. They have the land. That's what they do. They have cows, cattle, stuff like that.
Now, were there other Italians that got into ranching or farming?
Yeah, I think out of Pittsburgh, there was a guy by the name of Pete Icala. He was a rancher. He's kind of a big rancher. But I don't know how. Before that, they may have worked in the mines. I think most of them, when they first came here, did work in the mines.
Then put some money together and then bought a ranch.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it was cheap, and everything was cheap those days.
Do you know how to spell that last rancher's name?
Pete Icala. Echella, I guess. I'm not really sure. And he's got a bunch of sons too. That he has some sons that work on the ranches in Pittsburgh. No, I don't really know. I wouldn't just go on what I tell you because something, I just remember a few things that I've heard from hearsay. But I know this Peter Keller, he died just not so awful long ago, and his wife still lives out there in Pittsburgh.
Oh, on the ranch.
I imagine.
Yeah.
I guess his sons took it over. I don't know. One of them died just the other day, last year.
Oh.
I don't know if it was, I'm in 70.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Then, were there Italians that worked on the railroad?
Oh, not too many, I don't think.
No. You didn't,
There
you
might have
don't...
been a few, but
Yeah.
I don't remember very many Italians working on railroads because, maybe down Hartson there might have been some because see, that was a,
Division center?
yeah, probably.
Oh.
Maybe down there might have been some.
Uh-huh.
But there's a lot of Italians in Hartson too. There's this lady,
Uh-huh.
before you get to her place, there's a place named Hartson, you have to go through there. Well, now there was a lot of Italians there too.
Now that was a Dow?
Dow?
Dow.
Yeah, that's before you get to Hartside.
Now there were Italians there.
I don't think there's very many there now.
No, but there were at one time.
Probably so, uh-huh.
Do you remember where the Italians were from in these different towns? Like Carbon, North or South Italians?
Yeah, the only ones I know about is our own people and
Mm-hmm.
the ones that used to come to our house that we knew. They were up in the northern part
Mm-hmm.
of it that came here. But the ones that came from other parts, well, you'd have to talk to Miss Myson and some of the DeFranges. Now, they all came from more of the central Italy, I
Uh-huh.
guess you would say. I don't know anything much about them.
Mm-hmm.
Except that, I knew them, but
Yeah.
I don't know anything about their background. But
Yeah.
I imagine they all came to work in the mines, too.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. That seems
Yeah,
to
that's
be...
about all I can say.
Okay, well that was good. That gives us good background and some good points here. Great. Thank you.